Gentlemen, the word busy has become the most convenient lie in modern dating. A socially acceptable excuse that requires no explanation, demands no proof, and shields behavior that would otherwise require honesty. Some women have weaponized this single word into a versatile tool that allows them to maintain multiple romantic interests while you wait patiently, convinced that her packed schedule is the only thing standing between you and a real relationship. Before we expose these situations, hit subscribe, smash that like button, and drop a comment if you've ever been the backup option while someone claimed they were too busy to see you. Your story might help another man recognize the pattern before he wastes months waiting for someone who's not waiting for him. Time 1. Suddenly busy. On weekends, work has been crazy lately. This situation manifests when a woman who previously had time for weekend plans suddenly becomes unavailable every Friday through Sunday, citing work deadlines, family obligations, or exhaustion that requires her entire weekend to recover. She's responsive during the week through texts and occasional calls, maintaining just enough connection to keep you interested. But when it comes to actual face-to-face time during prime dating hours, she's perpetually unavailable. The deception works because weekends being busy sounds plausible in our hustle culture society. Everyone's working harder, everyone's stressed, and demanding jobs frequently bleed into personal time. But the reality is that people make time for what matters to them, and weekends are when romantic relationships actually develop through dates, quality time, and building real connection beyond text messages. Notice the pattern of her weekend unavailability. Is she genuinely overwhelmed with work that requires weekend hours, or does her busy schedule specifically coincide with prime dating time? If she's available for lunch on Tuesday, but can't find 2 hours on Saturday evening, the scheduling conflict isn't about her workload, it's about her priorities, and someone else is occupying the time slots that relationships are built in. Watch whether her weekend excuses come with specifics or remain vague. Does she explain exactly what she's doing? I have a project deadline and need to work Saturday morning, but I'm free Sunday afternoon. Or does she offer generic unavailability? This weekend is just really busy for me. Legitimate obligations come with details. Fabricated excuses stay vague because specifics can be verified or questioned. Pay attention to her social media activity during these busy weekends. Is she genuinely working and recovering, or is she posting from restaurants, bars, events, and locations that suggest she's very much available, just not for you? If her Instagram stories show her dressed up and socializing while she told you she needed the weekend to catch up on work, the busy excuse is covering activities she doesn't want you to know about. The psychological mechanism is maintaining connection during low-effort times while reserving high-value time for someone else. Weekday texting requires minimal investment and keeps you engaged without interfering with her weekend plans with another man. She's compartmentalizing her romantic interests, giving you the scraps of her attention during the week, while giving someone else the prime real estate of her actual free time. The long-term impact is you becoming a weekday text buddy rather than a legitimate romantic interest. You're providing emotional connection, entertainment, and validation through messages while someone else is getting the dates, intimacy, and relationship experiences that matter. You're investing in something that will never progress beyond texts because the time required for actual relationship development is permanently reserved for someone else. And by the time you realize, you've been waiting for weekend availability that will never come. You've wasted months in a pseudo-relationship that only exists on her schedule and never on the schedule that matters. Time 2. Available for texts, not for calls. I'm just really swamped right now. This situation involves a woman who maintains constant text communication, sometimes messaging you throughout the day with updates, memes, and conversation, but becomes strangely unavailable whenever you suggest a phone call or video chat. She claims she's too busy for calls, in meetings, around people, or just prefers texting, maintaining connection through written words while avoiding real-time voice interaction. The deception works because texting has become the dominant form of communication, and many people genuinely do prefer it over calls. Additionally, she's clearly making time to communicate with you since she's texting constantly, which makes your desire for calls seem demanding or old-fashioned. But the reality is that text can be managed from anywhere, including while she's with another man, while calls require undivided attention and privacy that would reveal she's not where she claims to be. Notice the timing of her text responses versus her phone call availability. Does she text you late at night, but can't take a 10-minute call? Does she send you paragraphs throughout the day, but suddenly can't talk when you ask to hear her voice? If she has time to type extensive messages, but never has time for a brief conversation, the format preference isn't about convenience, it's about concealment. Watch what happens when you push for voice interaction. Does she offer alternative times that work better, or does she deflect indefinitely with excuses that never resolve? Legitimate scheduling conflicts can be worked around. Strategic avoidance creates permanent barriers. If weeks pass with constant texts, but zero phone conversations, despite your requests, she's deliberately maintaining a communication format that allows her to manage multiple conversations simultaneously. Pay attention to background information that slips through in her texts. Does she mention being home alone, but still can't take a call? Does she describe her quiet evening, but claims she's too tired to talk? If her described circumstances would easily accommodate a phone call, but she still refuses, the refusal isn't about her situation. It's about maintaining the ability to manage communication with you while being present with someone else. The psychological mechanism is using asynchronous communication to manage multiple romantic interests without conflict. Texts can be sent from anywhere, including while on a date with another man, while calls require exclusive attention that would interfere with her time with him. She's keeping you engaged through a communication channel that doesn't require her to be alone, available, or honest about her actual location and company. The long-term impact is you developing a false sense of connection with someone who's never actually present with you. Text intimacy feels real, but lacks the accountability of real-time interaction, where tone, background noise, and immediate responses reveal truth that can be edited out of messages. You're building a relationship that only exists in writing, because the moment it requires her actual voice and attention is the moment it would conflict with the in-person relationship she's having with someone else. You've become a text-based emotional support system, while someone else gets her actual time, attention, and presence, and you don't realize you're the secondary option because she's skilled enough at texting to make you feel like you matter, while never giving you the real-time access that would reveal you don't. Time. 3. Last-minute cancellations. Something came up, I'm so sorry. This situation manifests when a woman regularly makes plans with you but cancels at the last minute with urgent excuses that sound legitimate but happen with suspicious frequency. The cancellation always comes with apologies, promises to reschedule, and explanations about unexpected work emergencies, family situations, or sudden illness that made the date impossible. But the pattern repeats. Plans are made, anticipation builds, and then hours before meeting, she backs out with another unavoidable circumstance. The deception works because life genuinely does interfere with plans sometimes, and legitimate emergencies do occur. A single cancellation deserves understanding and grace, but the pattern of repeated last-minute cancellations reveals something different. She's keeping you as a backup option while prioritizing someone else. When that person becomes available or makes plans with her, you get cancelled. When he's not available, she keeps the date with you. Notice the timing of her cancellations. Do they happen hours before scheduled dates, giving her enough time to assess whether better options have emerged? Does she cancel after you've already made arrangements, gotten ready, or adjusted your schedule. If cancellations consistently arrive after she's had time to evaluate whether something more appealing is available, you're not dealing with bad luck. You're dealing with hierarchical prioritization, where you rank below other options. Watch whether her emergencies sound genuinely urgent or conveniently vague. Does she explain the specific crisis? My sister's car broke down, and I need to pick her up from work. Or offer generic unavailability. Something came up with family. Real emergencies come with details because they're real. Fabricated emergencies stay vague because specifics create accountability and can be fact-checked. Pay attention to whether she proactively reschedules or leaves that responsibility to you. Does she immediately suggest alternative times, demonstrating that she actually wants to see you, or does she apologize profusely but leave the rescheduling logistics entirely in your hands? If someone genuinely wants to see you but has a legitimate conflict, they propose solutions. If someone is using you as backup, they create vague future possibilities without committing to specific plans that might interfere with their primary interest. The psychological mechanism is keeping multiple options open through strategic flexibility. By making plans with you, she maintains your interest and ensures availability if her preferred option doesn't work out. By cancelling, when that preferred option comes through, she pursues what she actually wants while keeping you invested through apologies and future promises. You're her insurance policy against being alone, activated only when her first choice isn't available. The long-term impact is you becoming perpetually available for someone who's never actually available for you. You keep your schedule flexible, turn down other opportunities, and invest in anticipation of dates that repeatedly don't happen. Meanwhile, she's spending her actual time with someone else while you wait for the moment when that situation doesn't work out and she finally follows through with you. You've become the relationship equivalent of a spare tire, kept accessible in case of emergency, but never actually driven on when things are going well. By the time you recognize the pattern, you've wasted months keeping yourself available for someone whose last-minute cancellations weren't bad luck, but deliberate strategy to keep you waiting while she pursues what she actually wants. Time: 4. Busy at night, active online. I'm exhausted and going to bed early. This situation involves a woman who claims she's too tired for evening conversations, dates, or any interaction after work hours, consistently telling you she needs early nights to recharge. But her social media activity, online status, and last seen timestamps tell a different story. She's active on Instagram late at night, posting stories at midnight, and online across multiple platforms during the hours she claimed she was sleeping. The deception works because exhaustion is universally relatable and difficult to question without seeming insensitive. Everyone experiences burnout and needs rest, and demanding someone's time when they've claimed exhaustion makes you seem selfish. But the reality is that she's not too tired for social interaction. She's too busy having social interaction with someone else, and her claimed early bedtime is cover for activities and conversations she doesn't want you to know about. Notice the discrepancy between her stated schedule and her digital footprint. Does she tell you she's going to sleep at 9 p.m., but posts Instagram stories at 11 p.m.? Does she claim exhaustion that prevents phone calls, but maintains active status on messaging apps throughout the night? If her online activity contradicts her claimed unavailability, the exhaustion excuse is covering nighttime activities that don't include you. Watch whether her tiredness is selective. Is she too exhausted to talk with you, but has energy to engage with social media, respond to other people's posts, and maintain online presence? If she can scroll, post, and interact digitally, but can't spare 10 minutes for you, the energy deficit isn't real. The priority placement is. Pay attention to what her nighttime social media reveals about her actual activities. Is she posting from home in pajamas, confirming her exhaustion story, Or is she posting from restaurants, bars, and social situations that reveal she's very much awake and social, just not with you? If her stories show her dressed up and out while she told you she was too tired to leave her house, the exhaustion was a convenient lie to pursue other plans. The psychological mechanism is using claimed physical limitations to justify unavailability while maintaining the lifestyle and social activities she actually wants. Evening hours are prime relationship time for dates, intimacy, and connection. By claiming exhaustion, she reserves those valuable hours for someone else while keeping you at arm's length through an excuse that seems health-related and beyond her control. The long-term impact is you accepting daytime scraps of attention while nighttime relationship-building hours are permanently off-limits. You're getting lunch dates and afternoon texts, while someone else is getting dinner dates and late-night intimacy. You've been categorized as the daytime option, while evening hours, when romantic relationships actually deepen, belong to someone else. By the time you notice that you've never spent an evening with her, despite months of dating, you've invested in something that was designed from the start to remain superficial because the depth-building hours of night were always reserved for the person she's actually prioritizing, and her claimed exhaustion was the convenient shield that prevented you from accessing the time of day when real relationships develop. Time 5. Takes hours to respond. I've just been so busy I barely look at my phone. This situation manifests when a woman takes hours or even days to respond to your messages, claiming she's been so overwhelmed with life that she barely has time to check her phone. But you notice she's active on social media, posting updates, responding to comments, and clearly using her phone regularly, just not to respond to you. The delayed responses come with apologies about how busy she's been and how she's terrible at texting lately, maintaining just enough contact to keep you invested while never prioritizing actual timely communication. The deception works because modern life is genuinely overwhelming and phone fatigue is real. The narrative of being bad at texting has become culturally acceptable, and questioning someone's response time seems clingy or demanding. But the reality is that people respond quickly to messages they care about, and in an era where phones are constantly within reach, selective response delays reveal deliberate deprioritization, not actual unavailability. Notice whether her delayed responses are consistent across all her digital activity or specifically limited to you. Does she take 12 hours to reply to you, but post Instagram stories multiple times during that same period? Does she claim she's barely been on her phone, but her last seen status shows she's been active across multiple apps? If her phone usage is clearly regular, but her responses to you specifically are delayed, the delay is intentional prioritization, not genuine unavailability. Watch the pattern of when she does respond. Does she finally reply late at night when her primary plans have ended? Does her response time improve when she wants something from you but deteriorate when you need something from her? If response speed correlates with her needs rather than remaining consistent, she's managing your availability rather than genuinely struggling with communication. Pay attention to the quality of her delayed responses. When she finally replies hours later, is it a thoughtful message that reflects the time she took, or is it a brief, low-effort response that could have been sent immediately? If she's taking 6 hours to send, haha, yeah, the delay wasn't about crafting a meaningful response. It was about you not being important enough to respond to promptly. The psychological mechanism is maintaining minimal engagement that keeps you interested while investing her actual attention elsewhere. Quick responses require mental presence and priority. Delayed responses allow her to keep you in orbit without dedicating real attention to you. She's managing multiple conversations and relationships, and her response hierarchy reveals who matters most, and you're not in the top tier. The long-term impact is you developing anxiety around communication, constantly checking for her responses, and overanalyzing why she's taking so long to reply. You've become hyper-aware of your phone, hoping for a notification from her while she's casually responding when it's convenient, completely unaffected by whether you've heard from her. You're investing emotional energy in someone who's investing none in you, training yourself to accept breadcrumbs of attention while someone else is receiving the immediate responses, engaged conversations, and communication priority that demonstrates genuine interest. By the time you realize that hours-long response delays weren't about her being busy, but about you being unimportant, you've normalized poor treatment and convinced yourself that patience is virtue when actually it's been acceptance of being someone's lowest priority. Time 6. Busy during her girls' night out. It's just me and the girls. I'll talk to you tomorrow. This situation involves her regular girls' nights that occur with predictable frequency, during which she's completely unavailable for communication, claiming she's focusing on her friendships and will catch up with you afterward. But the details don't quite add up. Her social media during these nights shows her in mixed company, at venues that cater to singles and dating crowds, and in situations that don't match the quiet girls' dinner she described. The deception works because friendship time is healthy and necessary in relationships, and demanding access to someone during designated friend time seems controlling and insecure. Supporting her need for independent social life appears mature and trusting, but the reality is that some women use girls' night as convenient cover for dates with other men, knowing that this particular excuse comes with social immunity against questions and built-in justification for complete unavailability. Notice the frequency and timing of these girls' nights. Do they happen during prime weekend dating hours? Are they regular enough to suggest routine social patterns, but vague enough to prevent verification? If her girls' nights consistently occupy Friday and Saturday evenings, the exact times when romantic dates typically occur, the scheduling might not be coincidental. Watch whether her description of these nights matches what appears on social media. Does she describe intimate dinners with close friends but post from crowded clubs? Does she mention staying local but appears at venues across the city? Does she claim early nights but timestamps show activity well past midnight? If her narrative and her digital evidence don't align, one of them is false, and usually it's the narrative she's giving you. Pay attention to how she reacts when you ask casual questions about her girls' nights. Does she share details naturally? Who was there, where they went, funny stories from the evening? Or does she become vague and slightly defensive? Legitimate social activities come with stories and details. Fabricated excuses stay general because specific information creates the risk of contradiction. The psychological mechanism is using socially acceptable friend time as cover for romantic activities with someone else. By framing unavailability as friendship maintenance, she creates a scenario where questioning her becomes evidence of your insecurity rather than legitimate concern. She's leveraging your respect for healthy boundaries to create opportunities for boundary violations you don't know are happening. The long-term impact is you respecting space that's being used to betray that respect. You're being the understanding partner who supports her independence, while that independence is actually time spent building intimacy with someone else. You've been trained to see questioning as controlling, so you silence legitimate concerns and accept vague explanations for situations that deserve scrutiny. By the time you discover that girls' night was cover for dates with another man, you've spent months supporting and defending behavior that was strategically designed to deceive you, and the trust you showed by not questioning these nights was the exact vulnerability that made the deception possible. Time 7, too busy to define. The relationship. Let's just see where things go. This situation manifests when a woman claims she's too busy, stressed, or emotionally unavailable to have serious relationship conversations or define what you are to each other. She wants to keep things casual, not put labels on it, and just enjoy each other's company without pressure. Maintaining indefinite ambiguity about commitment, exclusivity, or future intentions while continuing to receive the benefits of your time, attention, and emotional investment. The deception works because relationship pressure is considered unattractive, and demanding clarity seems needy and impatient. The cultural narrative celebrates going with the flow and not forcing things, making her resistance to definition seem like healthy relationship pacing rather than deliberate ambiguity. But the reality is that she's not too busy or overwhelmed to define the relationship. She's keeping things undefined so she can continue exploring other options without technically cheating or lying. Notice whether her desire to avoid labels comes with genuine slow-building intimacy or with maintenance of permanent distance. Is she emotionally investing in you while wanting to take physical commitment slowly, or is she keeping everything at surface level indefinitely? If months pass with no progression in intimacy, exclusivity, or future planning, her resistance to definition isn't about pacing. It's about keeping her options open. Watch whether she displays relationship behavior while refusing relationship commitment. Does she expect you to be available, loyal, and invested while maintaining her right to see other people? Does she benefit from your emotional support, financial generosity, and time commitment while keeping herself free from reciprocal obligation? If she wants the benefits of a relationship without the boundaries of one, she's having her cake and eating it too while you're getting responsibility without security. Pay attention to whether her timeline for someday defining things ever actually arrives. Does, let's see where we are in a few months, turn into another few months, and then another? If commitment conversations keep getting postponed with moving goalposts, the delay is permanent strategy, not temporary circumstance. She's not planning to commit when she's less busy. She's planning to keep you available indefinitely while maintaining freedom to pursue other options. The psychological mechanism is using undefined relationships to maintain multiple romantic connections simultaneously without technically violating any agreements. By refusing to establish exclusivity or commitment, she creates a situation where she can see other men, invest time in other relationships, and pursue other options while you remain loyal to something that was never actually defined as requiring loyalty. She's reaping the benefits of your commitment without offering her own. The long-term impact is you investing months or years in something that was never designed to become what you want. You're auditioning for a role that's not actually available, waiting for commitment from someone who's deliberately avoiding it, and accepting ambiguity that serves her interests while undermining yours. By the time you realize that her busy schedule, preventing relationship definition, wasn't about timing, but about strategy, you've given her the emotional intimacy, financial investment, and loyal availability of a committed partner, while she's maintained the freedom to pursue and connect with other men without consequence. You've been in a one-sided commitment where you played by relationship rules, while she played by casual dating rules, and the imbalance was maintained through her claimed inability to handle relationship conversations, while she was perfectly capable of handling multiple relationships simultaneously.